Here's a weird stat that they added, though, that they've never had before. Gender. I can find out the genders of people watching.
That's interesting.
91% are male. 8% are non-binary.
So wait.
No females and no not specified genders. I got to say, that 8% of non-binary, man, I don't know what they're getting out of our show.
Well, I'm confused because I know Kayla listens, so either she's got a big old secret that...
Spotify thinks she's non-binary?
I guess. No. I don't know.
You need to have a talk with your wife, man.
Jeez. I mean, I guess that's bad on me if I haven't figured anything out by this point.
Time to get your fix. It's a horrible gaming podcast. It's not good. It's not great. Horrible gaming podcast. It's not even what you would call fair. It's really not that good. Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Hello, my name is Zachariah Van Sliders with Old Man Gaming. You guys have done it. You decided to come back for episode 43 of a Horrible Gaming Podcast. With me is...
Neil, a.k.a. Tiny Wizard.
And before we get into the meet and greet of the episode, I don't know what meet and greet is, but just a few disclaimers and credits. The disclaimers, hey, we put everything we can into this, but the quality is what it is, as in you're probably going to hear my kid in the background, as she is definitely behind me today. And credits, Mark Bell. Thank you to him for all of the original graphics that you see on this show in the YouTube version, and all of the original graphics we have on any of the other shows that we do. And then, of course, big thank you to my brother, Nick Van Sliders, for the theme song to this show. And I just want to get a quick extra plug in. Nick Van Sliders has joined the OMF team. I'm sorry, the OMG team. Yeesh. I don't even know that acronym for my own team. He has joined the Old Man Gaming team. We will be producing his music in the form of music videos. One of them is already up. Probably all of you have seen it since it's already at 100 views. Way to go. And we will be producing all of his music that way. He will also be lending us his music for the theme songs to all of our shows. So we are going to be a very musical channel now. Just diversifying just a little bit more. But still, thank you to Nick Van Sliders for the theme song of this show and the theme songs of all the shows.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, and we are now into Fanteraction. And we have to start Fanteraction a little bit lower than we usually do because we got somebody who did not care for us that much. And I am a firm believer in what I said. Until the point where we get too many comments for me to read, I'm going to read as many comments as I can on the show, good or bad, because we like criticism just as much as we like praise, because that means that you're interacting with the show. So, with that out of the way, we're gonna put everything off and we're gonna get right into this guy's comments. Arsenic Steel 00. He said, "What negative rumors?" And this is referring to our PlayStation 5 topic from the tech test. "What negative rumors? Having fewer teraflops isn't a rumor. It is a fact. However, I am not sure what theoretical T-flops matter to you as a gamer. How did that work in the last gen? What did it do for the third gen in gaming? There aren't any rumors out there about PS5. I guess some kid made up lies about the system catching fire. Again, that would be a lie, not a rumor." Before we continue, I do want to say that that's still a rumor. Like, if people are talking about it, it's a rumor. Like, regardless of where it came from, it might be a bad rumor, but it is still a rumor. Just saying that, just putting that out there. As to the UE5, which is Unreal 5 on PS5, it is simply that. Showing some new features and how well the engine works on a specific platform. The engine will be everywhere, but all the features won't. As they said, for mobile, they would need to scale things down. Not much different from how Epic showed UE3 and 4 on PlayStation years ago. It was them showing how flexible their engine is. Where were the tears about marketing then? Oh, right. You new gamers didn't exist back then. You new gamers only know how to cry and complain about things that don't actually matter to you. If it's marketing, then what is being sold? Epic isn't selling you on PS5, and Sony isn't selling you on UE5 engine. This is just a demonstration of tech. He then had another follow-up comment that was a little bit more insulting. The real funny thing is, if not for COVID-19, both the Mark Cerny tech dive and Epic UE5 reveal would have both happened in the same time as GDC. I can only imagine the amount of Kleenex you kids would have needed. Okay, so first of all, I was all ready to get all spit and vinegar and fired up about this guy, Neil. I really was. But then I do the thing that I do. Any comment I get, the first thing I do is I click on the guy's little icon. Because when you click on the guy's little icon, it shows you all the interactions that person has had with your channel. Okay?
All right.
So I clicked on Arsenic Steel 00. Arsenic Steel 00 was my first negative comment on my channel ever. When I did the first review for Dauntless, he made a comment that was basically about, I had said that I say in all my reviews I don't like to give a scored review because I think it's one of the most kind of like open to interpretation forms of art. He made a comment about that being pretentious. He was my first negative comment ever. Like a year ago, this dude was the first negative comment I ever got. Any anger I had just fluttered away because this dude has been with us the entire time. Arsenic Steel 00, you obviously do not like some of the things that I say on this channel, but I do want to say thank you so much for being around this long and commenting and interacting with us. We appreciate it here at the channel. We like to get better. We don't always agree with we're not always going to agree with your point of view. You're obviously not going to agree with our point of view all the time. But the fact that you have come back repeatedly to this channel to comment over the entire course of our lives is wonderful. I do want to say I am pushing 40 with a 4-year-old child. I've been married for 10 years. No one calls me a kid anymore, man. I'm sorry. You were talking about facts in your first comment. It is a fact. I am not a kid. It should be noted that I'm not a kid because I decided to name my channel Old Man Gaming. But aside from that, my age should also throw that out there. No one who works on this channel is like under 30, I don't think. Not anymore, except for Logan. Logan is a kid, but Logan would have probably agreed with you. So I'm not a kid, man. I think that's the only thing I took real offense to.
I mean, you and I had a brief conversation about it. It's you know, it's cool if, you know, people aren't going to agree with what we think. And I mean, even you and I disagreed on the whole overarching idea of what the Unreal 5 demo was, because I mean, I was focused more on the tech and what it was bringing, and you know, you were focused on the gaming aspect of it and like what things could look like, and your your conspiracy theories about why
conspiracy theories are a part of the show. They're just not going to go away as long.
I need a roll of tinfoil up here. I keep forgetting for every time you start getting into your conspiracies, but. I just to finish off that comment there. I mean, it's all opinion. There's no, you know, it's all in how you see things. I mean, even though Sony's going to have a weaker system, it looks like it's still what you do, how you leverage the tech and your file compression. It could mean nothing. I mean, Sony's got their first party exclusives. Microsoft hopefully will have them. And that's the debate that's been raging forever, the console wars. It's never going to go away. I mean, we're just some dudes who like games and like talking about them. So,
exactly.
I mean, it's just another person who doesn't meet eye to eye with us, and that's fine.
That's totally fine. And I'm not even going to lie. Like I said, not only this dude doesn't see eye to eye to us, but he has been listening for a year, like, or at least. I mean, he was my first negative commenter, and now he's a negative commenter on this. You know, basically the entire lifespan of the show later. It's amazing to me. I'm so happy that somebody who didn't like what I put out originally still saw fit to stay with it long enough to didn't like what I put out later. I think that's really the spirit of all of my shows. Okay, so that's out of the way. Let's move on to Horrible Arena. We did not get crap for votes, man. Like, nothing. We got one vote from Kevin, and I don't know how it's supposed to go, so I'm going to go to it, and I'll read it. Okay, so here we go. I vote for Sonic Strategies being possible due to Sonic Maker. So just both of you take my money. On second thought, I can't vote for Neil. He missed an obvious Nintendo as developer tie-in.
I mean, it sounds like you got the vote. I mean, I don't know about Nintendo just because they have the Maker sort of theme going on. I don't know if that necessarily would tie them down to that, but I mean, hey, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I did get it. I don't know. I mean, he was the only vote, so I guess I got to write it down for me. Sorry, Neil.
This is like the least fanfare ever. Like,
usually,
right. Even if it's just like
crown of my head.
usually it's just like, oh, like one, like one vote. Oh, it goes to me. There it goes to you. Whatever. This time it's just genuine confusion across the board. I'm tired. We're tired. It's been a day.
It's been a day for Neil. I'm tired all the time because I have a 4-year-old child. So. As previously mentioned, so we are always tired. It's Old Man Gaming. It should just be our byline. Old Man Gaming. They're tired.
When you're here, you're tired.
You're tired. Like the Olive Garden tie-in.
Right.
Sonic movie now. Okay, so to go into the other comments, Kevin was making up for missing commenting on the last two shows. He commented a lot. So, here we go. I got to get to the beginning of his. All right. He was an episode late, but Sigma in the original Mega Man X was his boss that made him rage quit. It took me longer than any other boss I can remember. To which I responded, F that guy, because he was hard. I remember him being hard. He also put in, servants don't have a choice. We are instructed to listen by glorious leader. To which I said, I joke. I'm not glorious leader in this. I can't handle that kind of responsibility, which I can't. I'm not the glorious leader. He then just put read me, which I don't know what that means. He then put third comment, woo, I'm safe, because he got 3 comments in. Then he got, when did I join Team PS5? Has Glorious Leader forgotten my PC Master Race allegiance? Oh, you meant excited because you and Neil would argue, laugh out loud. Obviously referring to the fact that I kept saying that Kevin would get excited. I said yes, and we didn't even really end up fighting that much. Then he said PC games could look that good. Then he said he loved the Sonic movie. Then he said the vote, and then we're good. So that was a lot. Thank you, Kevin. We love all your comments, all of them. Keep them coming. And I think that was it. That was it was a barrage of comments from him, and then that's it. We asked the question last week. We asked the question, what indie developer would you just throw money at?
Well, I know for myself, I mean, the one indie developer that I really subscribe to is Toby Fox from the developer of Undertale and Deltarune. I think given how he writes out his story with these games, The story is fantastic, and they think out every single possible thing that you would maybe do, and generate something in the game for that. And I think that mindset would transition well over into something that's even just like double A quality of a game, let alone a triple A game. But yeah, I think that he would do a pretty good job. Actually, he's already worked with Nintendo on music for 2 other games. One of them actually being Pokemon.
Nice. I would throw my money at 2 companies. One would be Io and Circle, the guys who made the Friends of Ringo Ishikawa, which I mentioned last week in the odds and ends. God, this game is like, it's one of those where it's like, it's great and I like playing it, but I could see that like if it had $2 million to put into it, how much greater it would be,
Yeah.
Like there'd be more branching storylines, more love interest, more everything to do. I would love that. And then the other one would be, I can never remember their name. I think it's 11-Bit Studios, the guys who made Moonlighter and Children of Morta.
Oh, okay.
Those games. Moonlighter is amazing. I highly recommend anybody out there, if that's still on Games Pass, to go out and play it. Like, the only thing that bums me out is there's nothing really to do once you're done with the game, but like the lead up to being done with the game is just, it's such a satisfying loop. It's absolutely one of the best loops in gaming there is. I've never been able to go back to the same dungeon in like a Zelda-like game repeatedly over and over again and not get bored because of the loop. Like, that's how good it is. It's just, and honestly, Neil, it's one you would like, I think.
Moonlighter, I remember it being on Games Pass, but I don't think it's there anymore because that was on my list of games to try at one point. And and I had, whenever I signed up for Games Pass, I went on there, and I don't think I saw it, but I might have missed it.
It was definitely on Games Pass when I played it. I don't know if it's there anymore, but it is. You'd love it. It's great. It's basically Zelda, but instead of just the quests, like during the day, you run a shop for everything you find in the dungeon. Like you set the prices, you keep thieves from stealing your stuff, that sort of thing. So like, and every monster drops things that you can sell. So like you go into the dungeon, you only get like 3 floors in, and then you jump out to like sell your stuff in the morning. It's great. It's absolutely such a satisfying loop. Okay. Do we want to ask a question this week?
We have an option to do so.
Yeah.
Like we cannot if we want. I mean, I don't have one ready. I
got a question. A question. The gate's open. Let's do it. What do you guys dislike the most about us? I did it. It's out there now.
Oh my God. I have a list for me.
Let's just do it. Everybody out there, what do you like the least about us? Feel free to comment on it. We'll go ahead and pee then. Probably that's what you're going to not like about me. But yeah, what do you dislike about us the most?
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, so that brings us to our first topic, and it's been a little bit of a slow news week, but we've got some interesting things to speak about. Neil, start us off with the first one.
Well, it came out actually that we knew that Nintendo's Direct was going to be canceled and pushed back, rescheduled for a different time, but now we kind of have a point of reference to when it is that we're going to get this Direct, and it's not going to be until at least September, which is craziness. And it's not just like this is kind of ballparking it. They're so far like pushed back that they're actually going so far as to tell all of the partners that they're working with for various other Switch titles to not wait around to release the info for this Direct in September, to just go ahead and put that information out whenever they feel like it.
That surprises me. That surprises me quite a bit. Well, what are your theories? Why are they doing this? I mean, I guess I did not see this, which I'm actually very surprised by this. I thought we'd get one in like July or August. I didn't think it'd be all the way till September. I mean, basically they're canceling their E3 Nintendo Direct because they usually do one around Christmas anyway, too.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it still harkens back to the fact that over in Japan, there's no real ability for people to do a lot of work from home. You can't, get these high-end rigs into these usually smaller homes,
right?
Put a whole, this, that, and the other, like a computer setup in these houses and whatever. And I think it also leans more towards Nintendo's control over quality, too. If you have a whole team fractured working on various parts of something, feedback is always going to be an issue. And I think Nintendo is just erring on the side of caution with this. I mean, we had mentioned this last week that this is the one for sure that, like, they can get a pass by saying, hey, the virus. I mean,
right.
They didn't have much going on, but at the same time, we also don't know because we got, our information about this Paper Mario game. There's the rumored Mario remasters that are supposed to be coming out.
Well, and that's what blows my mind is, like, I totally understand where you're coming from. The whole, like, not really a way to work from home in Japan. I totally get that. That's why I was so surprised that they're, like, releasing Paper Mario in basically a month. So, like, I wasn't expecting them to cancel after that. Like, I was expecting them to cancel or push it off before, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, AAA game coming out. That was weird to me. Like, how are they getting that done,
Well, I mean, there is a chance that they could have still had that same release date as it was. I mean, the real normal E3 would have happened next week or the week after. This Paper Mario game is still 2 months out. So, I mean, at that point, it's literally just polish. Right. Polish is a lot different than going through and actually creating the building blocks for an actual full-on game.
I still have a weird theory. I know, tinfoil.
Zach, you can't. I'd left the tinfoil downstairs.
It's not a bad one. I have always kind of thought this, especially in the Switch era, that they finish their games long, like they somehow don't leak it, but they finish their games like months in advance, and they don't polish or anything. They just wait, and they just wait for the perfect date to, like, put it out. Like, I feel like it's very strange. Like I feel like Paper Mario was done 2 months ago, and they were just like, wait until we have to cancel a Nintendo Direct or something, and then, oh, here's a new AAA game. Like, I don't know. I feel like Nintendo has always been really good about stuff like that, and I feel like if you look at them, they never really have pushbacks. I mean, they did push back Animal Crossing a couple of months, but for the most part, they don't have, like, pushbacks or delays. Usually they set a date, they release it, and they're always perfect with the release schedule. I feel like they don't subscribe. I feel like they get it done and then they stop and they're like, all right, it's done. Now let's wait and find the right time to release it.
Yeah, I mean, and that could be a very viable option too, especially in a year where, again, we keep talking about the fact that Nintendo, we don't really know what they have on slate. They've already released Animal Crossing. We have this Paper Mario game coming now.
Yeah, which, again, is another one I feel like maybe that one's already done. It's just sitting somewhere in a warehouse waiting for them to ship it when they want to keep people involved. You know what I mean?
I did just see last night, though, that fingers crossed this time it's real, but there is also a listing online for a Metroid Prime trilogy for the Switch as well. So, I mean, with the way that people are wanting those games too, myself included, that may as well be a major AAA release.
I felt like we were going to talk about that in the odds and ends at some point.
It was going to come up in the odds and ends, but I figure I'd just kind of tack it on here because it fit.
Tie that shit in, baby. that works. That works. Yeah, that does look really interesting. And it would be a good stopgap since they announced Prime 4 and then they had to restart it. I think that would be I do think the Nintendo Direct getting canceled is I get it. I totally get it. It's weird to me. And it makes me think that they've just got games banked and they're just like, all right, throw this one out. We're good for this one,
Yeah.
I don't know. Anything else you want to talk about on that topic, or we'll move into the next one?
No, I think we're good to go.
All right.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, so our next topic, I wanted to put this in. We've talked about it on the channel basically since its inception. I've also played it on a beta, so it would be irresponsible for us not to. But Disintegration, out of nowhere, got a launch date. Got a release date. Sorry, a release date and a trailer. Nice, big, meaty story trailer, which I'm sure Neil has not watched at all.
Absolutely, 100% not.
It's a good trailer, man. It's a really good trailer. So I gotta say, I played the beta. I really did like the beta. I thought it's a very interesting and different way to look at first-person shooters, and how to play them. I think it's a beta, so it needs a little bit of work, obviously. But I didn't know anything about the story or what they were going to do with that. But this game is very narrative-driven, like old-school first-person shooter with kind of a new approach to the actual combat and levels. And the story trailer they released, Neil, man, this thing, if it doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will. Like I got really into it. I was like, anybody who thinks narrative game stories are dead, original narrative stories are dead. This one looks really, really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about it between segments, and this is my crux with certain games, like, is with a new IP, you don't really know what you're getting yourself into in some regards. So, like, when a new IP comes out, I always want to see what it is, what it turns out being, what's the reception on it. And it takes a lot for me to jump right on board with something right from the jump. Cyberpunk being one of those things, I'm 100% subscribed to Cyberpunk. Like, we have our pre-order, we're ready to go whenever it finally comes out. But like, I just find it hard myself to go out and spend $60+ at this point, on a brand new game that I don't know anything about the story, what it is, what it's going to be, this, that, and the other thing. Now, once I eventually jump on board with that one game, if I liked it and the second one is coming out or something along those lines, then I'll absolutely like, okay, yeah, that's coming out, I'm getting that. But I mean, I don't know, Disintegration, like, I know it's a thing. But outside of that, I mean, outside of you talking about it, I honestly have not really heard much of anything about it. And it's not doing much for me in that regard.
That's fair. It has been a little bit quieter. The thing that blew my mind about it was how they were choosing. I didn't think it was coming out anytime soon, but like how they chose to do everything with their lead up was kind of baffling to me, because we talked about it on one episode with the beta, because I was like, this beta comes out and we play it, but usually when you do an open beta, like, you have a release date, you know what I mean? Like, you're just testing servers at that point. They did a closed beta, then they did an open beta the weekend after, and I was like, oh, wow. But they had no release date. Then they just went quiet for 4 months, you know, or longer than that. I'm like, what is going on with this game? And then out of nowhere, it just like mid-virus situation, out of nowhere, it's like, yeah, next month, it's coming out. Like, so that kind of blew my mind a little bit, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were close to having it finished because they were doing an open beta, but I thought that the virus would push them off till fall, you know, and it'd get lost in the sea of huge blockbusters and console launches that are coming out in the fall. And then out of nowhere, they're like, yeah, June 16th. So that's kind of interesting to me. On the subject of IPs, I get more excited for a new IP than an old IP. I am so sick of 4s and 5s. Like, I get excited for games and series. Don't get me wrong. Like, I do. But like, I want people to show me something a little bit different.
Yeah,
they've been showing me, and this looks different.
Yeah, I'm fully aware that I'm honestly probably part of the problem in regards to.
We rarely have a topic where you're part of the problem.
I'm definitely 100%.
I'm kind of relishing it.
I'm definitely part of the problem because I'm that one who doesn't necessarily jump on the first one of something. It could be great, but again, like, I am so apprehensive because these games cost so much. They're time sinks. I mean, now that school's done for myself, like, I have the summer now to play and do whatever it is that I want to do. But, these new IPs that are coming out in the fall, winter time, even in spring, I don't. Like, if it's going to be a huge time sink, or it's going to be something that I don't know what it's going to be, or if I'm going to enjoy it, I'm not going to jump too far into that.
I get it. I think that Cyberpunk is kind of the safe choice. Like,
yeah,
the developers, how long they've taken, that Keanu Reeves is in it. Like, there's going to be something you enjoy from it, period,
Honestly, I can't wait till the 11th. I've never been so excited for a stream dedicated to one single game in a while, because this will be the first real big bit of gameplay I think that we've seen for Cyberpunk since the last one couple months ago.
So on the subject of streams, and I know we're getting way off the topic at hand, we might as well be in odds and ends, but on the subject of streams, I purposely don't watch streams for games that I'm already excited for. The streams that I watch are for games that I want to see what they're all about. Like perfect example for me is Grounded. Like, I watched that stream from start to finish because I'm really excited about it, but they haven't really quantified what it is. So, like, I wanted to see the gameplay for that. I know everything that Cyberpunk is going to be. Like, I know it. I know it in my heart. I don't want to get any more excited about it. Like,
yeah, or honestly get stuff ruined for you. I mean,
right.
Spoilers could happen. Like, you could see something that's happening mid-mission and, from what they show, granted it's later in the game, but earlier on, that bit that you've seen can influence what it is that you're going to do earlier in the game before you get to that point, because you have a point of reference as to what could possibly happen.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. Like, I love streams. Like, I think I always like to watch the indie streams of games that I think I'm going to be excited about, but I don't know yet, So,
yeah.
And you're right. You can get stuff ruined, but yeah, that game's going to be good. Like, there's just, like, I mean, yes, what if it's bad? Like, we should do a whole topic on what if that game ends up being bad. Like it turns into like E.T. and nobody plays video games anymore. Like,
no, we've already established what that game turns into if it's a bad game. It's the Dick and Balls game.
Yeah, that's true.
We've already had this conversation.
It was in that Dick and Balls game. I forgot about that. The Dick and Balls game. Oh, man. All right. Well, on that.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, so that brings us to our new segment. We made it again. Now that we've actually made it a segment, we've made it every time. It's very strange, but odds and ends. So me and Neil are very loquacious people. Sometimes we talk over, we like to have 3 subjects on the show. We've always been a 3-subject show before the Horrible Arena, but haven't been able to do that lately. So we added this segment. Basically, we put in any little story we want to talk about. And if we make it to this part of the show, we talk about it. And if we don't, we can cut it, basically. So we made it. We made it again. Yay. Life goals. So, Neil, you didn't have any odds and ends last week. So let's start off with you this week.
This week, I have all the odds and ends.
That's what it's going to be. We're just going to switch off. Like, I'm going to throw 4 things at you. You're just going to be like, yeah. And then you throw 4 things at me. Yeah. All right. Horrible Arena.
Well, I think first and foremost, we kind of knew that this was going to happen, but BlizzCon is officially canceled now.
Yeah.
Uh, Again, it was one of the weird. I don't know what they were really waiting for at this point. Like, I think everything that's still scheduled out for a hot minute, it should be just canceled out. We're not where we thought that we would be with everything going on. Just better safe than sorry. They're still up in the air as to whether or not they're going to have an online event,
Right.
which frankly, why not? I mean, if they had something to show at BlizzCon, why not just throw it out there, add it to all these other online expos that are going to be happening here in the coming weeks and months.
Well, and why even do an online event? Like, just release the trailers. That's what we show up to those things for anyway.
Right.
You know? Like, that's what we want. We want dates and trailers and prices, and like, just give us those. Like, I don't necessarily, like, don't get me wrong, I respect and enjoy the pageantry of it all, but like, if you can't do it, just give us what we want and move on with our lives. It'll save them money, you know?
Yeah. I mean, we can already almost call at least some of it anyways. Overwatch 2, Diablo 4, the stuff that they've already announced, you know, something with Hearthstone or something like that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Well, they're games as service kings. Like, that's what it's going to be for, like, I don't even know why anyone goes to BlizzCon at this point. It's just additions to whatever is already out there, you know?
Right.
I mean, the last original IP they had was Overwatch, and hey, that was huge. Not saying it wasn't, but at the same time, it's huge, so it's not going anywhere. So that's going to be their competitive shooter for the foreseeable future, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And then we also have the online site G2A has been in the news recently because they have been selling stolen keys on their site for games. So
how do I get in touch with them?
Yeah. So, well, I think the main reason that this really blew up because they don't really have a whole lot of control as to who is selling what on their site. I mean, they probably should. They should implement some sort of vetting process or something along those lines. But
you're speaking like stolen keys, like keys to games.
Access keys, yes. Right. Access keys to games. So what's...
Just for the people who aren't going to college for tech stuff.
Right. So the main reason that this kind of blew up, though, is they just swore up and down that they're not selling these keys, and the stolen keys being sold because of how it all worked. Long story short, there would be chargebacks on purchases made for those if the stolen keys were already used or something along those lines if somebody tried to buy them. So the chargebacks for the refunds would hurt developers. So they said, this isn't a thing that's happening, and we stand by this so much that we're going to refund 10 times the chargebacks if it's proven that these are stolen keys. So they were like, everybody was like, okay, fine. So then they did all the work, found all these auditors and stuff that could go in and see this sort of stuff. And they didn't meet G2A's strict guidelines, whatever those were, as to what could qualify for an official audit. But then they went ahead and did their own internal investigation, and they did, in fact, find out that there were keys that were stolen being sold on the site. So they went and paid everybody out that needed to be paid out when it was proven, you know, about these keys and the chargebacks and everything like that, and went ahead and just kind of patted themselves on the back about it. I honestly don't think they handled this very well. If they would have had somebody more, something more front-facing and not reactionary, and they weren't so just shitty about the whole situation because they were so certain that this wasn't a thing that could possibly even ever happen.
You know, it's arrogance. I can't count the number of companies or video game stuff where they're just like, no, this isn't like, take a second, get your facts in order. You're a giant company. Like, you can't just like say, nuh-uh. you know?
Yeah, right. Like anything can happen in this day and age. Like,
right.
And the fact that they had the gall to just be like, no, there's no way that's a thing. And it was very clearly by their own investigation proved that it was.
The minute they got any quantity of like these kind of complaints, they should have shut up. They should have got somebody in and researched it before now they look like idiots, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
We also have some hope for the future for the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. The brand manager for the Sonic the Hedgehog games says that they're going to get more time in development to improve the quality because they got stuck in this rut of just crapping out one every single year just to say that they have it out. And, that I think that this is a great thing. We haven't had a good one since the Sonic Mania, and that was fans taking over. Right. It was literally fans doing ROM hacks that just got legit.
Right.
And it was phenomenal, and I honestly would love a sequel to Sonic Mania. You see things like Sonic Boom and all of these other just nightmare amalgamations of what can only be described as just programming. It's not even a game. It's programming.
Right.
It's
right.
like, how can they put this stuff out?
Right. I agree. I would love to see a sequel to Sonic Mania, but that's not what I want to see out of Sonic. I want Sonic to get its AAA heyday, and they're not ever going to do that until they stop pumping out this ham-fisted baloney. Sonic Forces looked like it was going to be something cool, and then it wasn't. It's just like every time they start to get something looking good, it's like they rush it, it releases, nobody likes it,
Like, honestly, I think given it was done proper, Sonic Adventure 3, let's do it.
Yes.
Neil,
Sonic Adventure. I've never wanted to hug you so much. Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 are the absolute best Sonic games ever. I'm going to say that. I don't care what anybody says out there. They're the best games. They're the closest it's ever gotten to AAA. I know some people are like, oh, the voice acting sucks or whatever, but they're great. They have a through-line story. It's a little bit harder than Mario, but he keeps his speed. It's not like they're good stories. It's a good game. Man, I wish we'd get Sonic Adventure 3. I'm totally with you on that.
Well, they tried to do it with Sonic 06.
Yeah.
And it failed. We thought, well, I mean, I still maintain that game was fantastic, only because it was so horrible. It was so bad that the fun that you could have from it, just like the glitches and stuff. Yeah. One day, did you play Sonic 06?
No, I did not.
One of these days, I just gotta bring it over, and you just gotta try it out. Have some popcorn ready, because you're gonna need it for what goes down and the 2/3 of the time that you're gonna spend in loading screens.
I have watched it. I've watched plays of it, and it does look terrible to me. I did really want to play it, but yeah, it's the same thing though. Like everything since the Sonic 06, I feel like has just been a one-upped. Like, let's see how worse we can make it, and that kind of bothers me. Like, what if Sonic was a werewolf? All right, Sonic Unleashed. Like,
yeah,
every ham-fisted idea that anybody blurts out in a writer's room comes out as a Sonic game, and I'm totally sick of it. Totally sick of it. Sonic's not treated the way he should be treated, and the only way he's going to be treated is if you take your time, you give it to a developer who truly cares about the IP, and let them do what they need to do. So I'm with you on that.
Totally.
Have you played Runeterra yet?
No, I have not.
Play it! Oh, that's my odds and end. Play it, Neil. Play it.
Yeah,
it's so good.
I saw you put up a pretty much an intro video on how to kind of get into it, and actually that was where I was going to start whenever I got around to doing it.
That's sweet.
So
thank you. I appreciate it. And that was a wonderful segued plug right there.
Yes.
Very well done. I actually did that because of Phil Billy. Phil Billy was like, you should do that. You should definitely do that. Once I did the review, I was like, should I do like a starter deck? My decks aren't like tournament quality or anything, but they're good for people who are just starting, who don't have a lot of cards yet. And he was like, yeah, you should definitely do that. Because like the deck will fall short. Like if you're trying to go the long haul, you'll get to like the higher ranks of like silver and gold, and they'll just beat the crap out of you. But like in the beginning, you'll get wins with it, and you don't need a ton of cards for it. But yeah, play it. It's so good. It's so good. It surpassed my want to play Switch right now. Like,
oh, really?
I pick my phone over Switch right now because of that card game. That card game is so good. I've been missing a good collectible card game. I don't much care for Hearthstone. I've played Hearthstone quite a bit in my life, but it's a I equate card games as two types. There's the fuck you card game, and then there's the strategy card game. Strategy card game means that there's more strategy to it, and it's more about like the deck building and then how you play the cards. Whereas the fuck you card game is you put a lot of cards in that say fuck you to the opponent. So anytime he plays anything, it's like fuck you. No, fuck you.
Oh man,
no.
See, that's what I like. I like the fuck you games because that's
Yu-Gi-Oh.
That's my oh yeah.
I played Yu-Gi-Oh.
do some nasty stuff. Nasty stuff.
There's nasty stuff in Runeterra. It's just you have to like. There is more of a patience to it and more of a chess kind of strategy to it because you can't. Like you know how it'll be your turn and you'll just play all the cards you can play. You know.
Right.
With Runeterra, every card you play, the other person gets the opportunity to play a card.
Oh, okay.
Like every card, period. So like if you summon a character, the opponent can summon a character. If you play a spell, the opponent can play a spell. So like it's this back and forth well, if I play this, he might play this, and then I might play this, and then he might play this. And then it really opens up when you start to get used to the cards and what all the other factions have. So I can sometimes, like, the minute I see what the opponent is using, I can be like, okay, I know the cards he's got, and I know when he's going to use them, you know? Mm-hmm. And it's just, nobody's ever done a card game like this. It's just there's never been a card game that I felt like this is like the card game version of chess. Just so good. I'm sorry, my odds and ends just keeps being Runeterra every week.
No, you're fine. I mean, I only had one more thing anyways for odds and ends.
What's your other thing? You think we can get it in real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of really interesting. Actually, I read this and I was like very confused. Christopher Nolan is going to be screening a full movie in Fortnite this summer.
Oh yeah, I heard that. That's super weird. What is Fortnite now, by the way? Like
they have, I saw
their concerts and movies now. Like I thought it was just a battle royale game.
Yeah, I saw they're like advertising like a fun hangout non-combat mode, which frankly, that on its own kind of makes me want to get into it, just to see what kind of weirdness you can do. Because honestly, battle royale, it's too stressful for me. Like. I know the get good, yeah, fine, whatever. But I don't want to play a game where I know full well that I'm probably just going to get picked off quick. That's or fair. Just have like this. It boils down to an endless anxiety until you finally get killed as to where there could possibly be somebody ready to kill you. Or it could be you hiding in a bush for literally a half hour until you're like 1 of 5 left, and then you play the game. Like, none of these things appeal to me.
I get it. My big appeal from like battle royales are basically it's anonymity. So like if I'm playing a versus game against people, and this is huge in like For Honor, like if somebody gets pissed, they can message me, they can yell at me, they can scream at me, all that kind of shit. Same with like Call of Duty. You get a lot of people just get pissed because you killed them or whatever. With Battle Royale, there's so many people and the matches are so long that like I'm just a face in a crowd. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like I can play with all these other people without ever talking to any of them and just know that they're people. You know what I mean? And that's something that I like about. That's why I'm drawn to battle royales. Is I can it's not just like the mad like everybody drops in and just starts shooting each other. Like you drop in and as long as you go to, like, I always go to a very secluded place and I take my time and I pick my shots and nobody knows I'm there. Like, there's just something appealing about that to me. But I'm getting off topic. Fortnite is becoming the thing that makes me feel old. I do want to say that. Like, Fortnite's the thing I don't understand anymore. Like, every time one of these stories come out where it's like, yeah, in Fortnite, we're going to show you how to cook a turkey, a Thanksgiving turkey. I'll be like, what? It's a battle royale game. What? Am I on crazy pills? I don't understand.
Somewhere there has been an executive who just had that idea. Like,
yeah, right, exactly. And that's what I don't like. How is Fortnite a social media platform? Like, I don't understand that at all to me. It's like, it's a streaming service and a concert social media platform. I was like, this is the one with the floss dance where they jump out of a giant floating bus and they shoot each other with ray guns while they're building like stairs into the sky. What the fuck is going on?
The thing that got me the most was when it came down to, like, when they did the whole Star Wars thing.
Right.
And it was Palpatine's broadcast message in the game. And it wasn't just like something that supplemented the game or the movie, whatever. No, like, I don't play Fortnite. I put maybe 3 hours into it just to see if I enjoyed it when it was first a big thing. And outside of that, I haven't touched it since. We went to go see The Rise of Skywalker. And there's the opening crawl said the dead speak, Emperor Palpatine, and the message into space. And we're like, oh, okay, well, maybe this is just like how the old movies are. And like, this is what happened off screen. This kind of seems like a big detail to just, I don't know, leave out of the movie. And then it's like 3 days afterwards, I found out that message is in Fortnite, exclusively in Fortnite. If you want to hear it, you have to go on YouTube and find a video of it that somebody recorded so you can hear this speech that is, I wouldn't say integral, but very important to an external thing.
That's weird.
Like, that's
very strange.
Yeah, it's very alienating, and I guess this is how our parents felt whenever we started playing video games.
Yeah.
I'm
definitely getting to the age where I'm like, oh, I'm not going to understand anything in 10 years. Got it. Like, when I was younger, I was like, why don't my parents understand anything? And then when I was like middle-aged, I was like, I'm always going to understand everything. And now I'm like, I don't understand half of what's going on ever.
Yeah.
So I can't wait till she's old enough and I'm just going to be like, I don't know. Use your headphone. I don't know. I do, before we definitely got to move on. There's one other thing that I just want to throw out there. We don't have to talk about it at all. It's just really cool, so it needs to be on the show. The John Wick, Chad, whatever his name is, the John Wick writer and creator, is pushing for 2 adaptations of video games right now. One of them is Bendy and the Ink Machine. I don't know that one. But the other one is My Friend Pedro. Yes.
Bendy, that's going to be interesting.
I mean, My Friend Pedro's right up his alley. I don't know about Bendy, but My Friend Pedro. Did you play that at all?
No, I know the somewhat premise of it.
That's on Games Pass, and
I know that's on Games Pass.
It's actually a lot of fun, and it's quick and easy. Like, it's definitely a time. Like, it didn't take me long to get through it. I got through the whole thing for the review. That's how quick it is. But it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun, and it's right up his alley. I don't know Bendy. Bendy would be really interesting.
It was like one of the big indie horror games that hit right after Five Nights at Freddy's kind of took off.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I think we're now running late on time, so we should probably
just a smidge.
Should probably move on. Okay.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. That brings us to the main event, the moment you've all been waiting for, the Horrible Arena. What is the Horrible Arena for our new listeners and viewers? The Horrible Arena, the co-hosts will pitch a game. They will pitch the developer, the title, and what the game will entail. They will pitch this game based on a specific criteria that was named prior to the show. This week's criteria dating simulator. Once we pitch it, you guys get to go to all the places, all the comments, and you get to tell us which one you liked, and then we will decide the winner on next week's show. So the quantum coin has been tossed. Neil, you get to lead us off. Remember to say when you're all done, because I'm going to do everything in my power not to interrupt until then. Take it away, Dating Sim.
All right, so my developer is actually going to be the Game Grumps because they did Dream Daddy, the dating simulator, and they kind of have that knack for comedy almost. And I think that my dating sim would be somewhat in the vein of a comedic sort of game. Mine would be a dating sim almost. It would be like robots basically who are programmed to respond to responses, but the writing would be done in such a way to where it would be very like cold and robotic and just like set responses to what is being said to you. And I think it would just be very interesting. It's almost like the those alien memes that are on Facebook that are conveying real world things, but in a very just overstated manner. And I think that something like that would be pretty funny, to where you could just be a robot trying to date another robot, giving you programmed bleeps and bloops back, just as almost like as commentary on a dating sim in general, given the fact that, I mean, they're not very realistic anyways. Nobody, just like the Colonel Sanders one, finds love at a fried chicken school. But yeah, that's going to be my pitch. And the project name, my project name is just going to be Project Binary. And that'll be it.
All right. So my pitch is Project Love Street. I know it's a terrible name, but bear with me. The developer is Eric Barone of Concerned Ape. Yes, he's the one who did Stardew Valley. I think that makes the most sense for this game, because what I'm going to pitch is something a little bit more. I don't want the visual novel that a lot of dating sims end up coming out to be. I don't like that part of them. I don't mind a game about like just romantic interests and that's the conflict of it, but I don't want to just like move through reading text. So what this game would be is it would be kind of a follow-up to Stardew Valley. It would have that 8-bit pixel style, but instead of worrying about farming, you would live in a big city. Thus, you would have to manage your friendships and your relationships. And this would be kind of like the idea behind the whole relationship. You would have to kind of move through picking which woman or guy you wanted to get with, and then wooing them in different ways. So instead of like farming being the underlying tone, farming being the main point with some romantic interest being the underlying tone, the romantic and social relationships would be the main part of the game. You as a character would also have to move through, working a job, making money, possibly even you could do like a college student thing, because that's a very social kind of situation. So they would also have to balance schoolwork with it. And on that level, you could balance how much money you had to actually date a person. What I really want this game to concentrate on, though, is not necessarily what all the other dating simulators do, which is they concentrate on kind of the lovey-dovey romantic parts. I would like it to get a little bit more gritty, like you actually have to understand the people. I would really like it if each one of them had some sort of personality quirk, or even some, mental thing that they, like one's got depression or something, where we could actually like look at those situations and aspects in a fresh light, maybe gain some understanding from it, kind of in the way that I can never pronounce the name of that game, Senua's Sacrifice did. Bipolar, I think you could have a couple of those in there and really get into like they have actual problems, they have actual family issues, they actually have problems as people, and you have to decide who you can be with and who you're attracted to and who and you have to actually compromise to be with that person, because that's what real relationships are. You make a relationship. You don't just, one doesn't just get like thrown at you. You make it. And I would really love that in this game. So that's my pitch. Love Street. It's a terrible title. I'm sorry. It was the best I could come up with. I didn't come up with a title, but so there you guys go. Project Love Street versus Project Binary. Which one is getting your money? If you got to pick, yeah, you can write us in all the places.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
I guess we're ready for shameless self-promotion there, Neil. You got anything to add to it?
No, we are still doing Streets of Retro on Thursdays, and I'm not going to try to tack on an actual period of time like I did last week and bungle it all. So we're going to say it's still on Thursdays, be it tomorrow, today, yesterday, or another period of time.
It is on Thursdays. That is true. And one of these Thursdays, it's going to be getting a theme song too. So that's very exciting as well. So yeah. All right. So the normal shameless self-promotions, you can find us on Facebook at Old Man Gaming DH. You can find us on Twitter at Old Man Gaming 9. Join our Discord. The link is in the description below. You can talk to us and influence any number of our shows. We'd love to hear from you guys. And then as usual, check out everything the channel has to offer. We'll see you guys next week. As long as you guys keep watching and listening, we will keep making them. Bye-bye.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Stella, are you talking to me?
Hey.
Did I hear Stella actually talking to me?
Yeah.
Did she like recognize what just happened?
What happened was you started your pitch. Like you just I was like, all right, go for it. And then I turned around and my dog was doing the throw up thing.
Oh no.
So I had to run upstairs with her and let her out back to throw up. We made it, but I'm just up there. So I didn't hear any of your pitch.
I
was like, he doesn't know I'm even gone.
No, I finished the pitch, and then I hear Stella, and I hear her just, I'm like, wait, what? So like she knows my voice. Okay, yeah, cool.
She does. Because we're down here all the time. She can hear you. So she came over while I was down there, and she was trying to talk to you.
Oh, goodness. Hello, Stella.
Hello.
Hello.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure that this could be thrown at the end of the episode for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, this was fun. This was a lot of fun.